Hi, my name is Rachel and thank you for joining today. Today I'm going to share with y'all 17 ways to make cooking from scratch easier. I'm really excited to share this with y'all. No matter whether you've been cooking from scratch for 1 week or for 20 years, there are actionable steps that you can implement to make preparing healthy food for your family easier. I'm in a stage of life, we're all in different stages of life. For me, I'm in the baby stage. So we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. And if you've ever had little kids like that, like more than one, even one is difficult, but it's hard. Like life, it feels like we're in a really hard stage of life right now. There's always 3 people that need something, at least 3 people, sometimes more. And they a lot of times all need it at the same time, and that doesn't even count the animals and the cooking and the laundry and the cleaning and everything else. So it's hard, and so for me to be able to do things like baking my own bread and making kefir and doing a garden and, milking a cow, all that stuff, like it needs to be easy. And so these are ways that I have found to make it easier. That doesn't mean it's easy, but easier. And thank you to anyone who gives it a thumbs up, subscribes, leaves a comment, shares, those kind of things, even though they might not seem like it to you, are super, super helpful for the whole crazy YouTube algorithm and helping get the stuff out there so more people see it. So thank you so much for doing those things. So let's dig in and, I'm sure all of these won't apply to everyone, but hopefully you can get 1 or 2 nuggets that will really make your life easier, make cooking healthy food for your family easier. So, number 1, and I resisted this for so long. There's actually quite a few things on this list that I resisted for a long time. And then when I started doing them, it really made my life easier. So, number 1 is meal plan for a month preferably, but at least half a month, so at least 2 weeks. And when I say meal plan, I don't mean like get out your calendar and write, Monday we're gonna have rice and gravy, Tuesday we're gonna have spaghetti, Thursday we're gonna have pork chops, whatever. That's not what I mean. What I mean is get out a piece of paper and write down a list of however many meals you can think of. So the way I started was I actually have a list on my phone of all of my supper ideas, like everything that I've ever cooked that we liked, things that my kids eat, whatever. So I'll get out a piece of paper and I'll look at my master list and I will write down, I'll number 1 through however many. Usually for me it's like 25-ish can make it for a month because we usually have leftovers. So I'll write down numbers 1 through 25 and then I will write down meals. So I'm not writing on a calendar like I'm having a certain day. I'm just planning out what meals I want to have for that month. And then you know what groceries you need. So number 2 is doing a monthly grocery shopping trip or a half a month, depending on how many meals you plan. So if you plan a month-long meal plan, do a month-long grocery shopping trip, 1 monthly grocery shopping trip. If you do a 2-week meal plan, do a every 2 weeks grocery shopping trip. For me, that's easier. We don't live right by the grocery store. It's a 45-minute drive to get there. So for me, I don't want to have to be leaving and going to the store every week because I forgot something, or every couple days because I forgot something. So make a plan for a meal. Make a meal plan for a month, a whole month's meal plan, and then go through your meal plan and get you another piece of paper and write down everything you need to buy to make all of those meals, everything. So, and inventory what you have before you do that, so you're not buying duplicates, although duplicates is not a bad thing. But make your meal plan, make your grocery shopping list, and do it once a month. And the other thing with the monthly grocery shopping trip is like having a well-stocked pantry, which is things that you use a lot of. Like for us, we eat a lot of spaghetti because spaghetti is one of those easy meals for me. It's one of those quick backup plans. That's another thing is have a quick backup plan, easy meals, and keep your pantry stocked with those things. So like if we're unexpectedly gone to my parents' house and we get home late, spaghetti's a really easy meal for me because I can pull out a frozen pack of ground meat, throw it in the pot. It doesn't even have to be thawed. Like, cook it from frozen, dump in some sauce, cook some noodles, voila, you got something to eat. So easy meals, have those kind of things. And seasons and spices, you can make lots of stuff, even back up without a plan, as long as you have the seasonings and the spices. So monthly grocery shopping combined with a well-stocked pantry, and also along with that, I like to do bulk shopping. It kind of, when you're shopping for a month, it is bulk shopping. But also, like, if I'm gonna buy, let's say I'm making spaghetti. I plan one spaghetti for our monthly meal. When I go to the spaghetti noodles and I'm buying spaghetti noodles, I don't get one pack of spaghetti noodles, I get 3 or 4. Because then I have them in my pantry. If I need that quick meal, I have those spaghetti noodles ready to go. So things like that, don't get just one, get a backup. Number 3, I wish this one worked for me. They now have grocery delivery from Walmart. It's Walmart Plus. It's a monthly membership, and I think it was $9.99 a month or something like that. I looked into it. I was super excited. I was gonna do it because it would be 100% worth $120 a year for Walmart to deliver my groceries to me. Like, I and my husband was all on board with it, but we live too far away. So grocery delivery, if it's close enough to you and you're in a similar stage of life that I am, it would be 100% worth it to have it delivered to you. It's the same thing as Walmart pickup. They just bring it to your house instead. So that's something that would definitely make life a lot easier. Number 4 is from your master monthly meal plan at least 1 week at a time, where you do sit down and you write down on the calendar, okay, Monday we're gonna have hamburger steaks and gravy. Tuesday we're gonna have spaghetti. Wednesday we're gonna have grilled chicken. Whatever. Write it down on your calendar so that you know, okay, so what meat you have to take out each day to have for the next meal. Frozen, like, because you can't take out your frozen meat 2 hours ahead of time when it's time to cook. You have to have it thawed and ready to go. So write down your meal plan, actually plan at least a week at a time, so you know when you need to take food out, if you need to soak beans, if you need to, whatever it might be, to prepare for the next day. And that doesn't mean that you have to cook those meals on those days, but it gives you a good framework so that you're not like, oh boy, I'm supposed to be making hamburgers tonight in 2 hours and there's no ground meat thawed. That kind of situation. So that's number 4. So far we have meal plan for the month, a monthly grocery shopping trip, Walmart delivery, or a grocery delivery if that's applicable to you and it's something you can swing. So actually meal plan for at least 1 week at a time, so you can write down and have planned out when you need to take things out the freezer, or soak beans, or start your sourdough, or whatever it might be. All right, so number 5, and this is one of those that's like, if you can. It's not a absolute necessity, but if we're talking about making it easier, it really is a necessity. So if at all possible, invest in the tools to make cooking easier. And I use the word invest, and it is 100% an investment, because some of these things are really expensive up front, but they're things that you will have for years to come that will make your life so much easier. And the things that I'm talking about are a crock pot. I resisted the crock pot for a long time. My mom is like a crock pot lover. And I resisted the crock pot for so long because I'm like, well, I'm doing the same amount of work anyway. But y'all, it does make a difference. Like, because I can put a crock pot meal on in the morning, and in the evening time, it takes no effort and it's ready to eat. So crock pot is one. An Instant Pot, I don't use my Instant Pot a ton, but for the things that I use it for, it's really great. I use it for bone broth. I use it for yogurt when we have raw milk. I use it for cooking my chickpeas for hummus. So, and there's like tons you can do in Instant Pot. It's just not my preferred method of cooking. An extra freezer you know, because we'll get down the list. Freezer meals, if you're really big on freezer meals, you're gonna have to have space to put it. And also, if you're doing a monthly shopping trip, you have to have somewhere to put all of like your vegetables, your frozen vegetables, your meat, all that kind of stuff for a whole entire month, which, you know, if you're a family of 4 or 5, that's a lot of food. All right, a good blender. If a blender is something that you use, get a good one. You know, I have a Vitamix, I love it. A good mixer. I have a Bosch and I love it. My mom has one that she's had for like 20 years and it's still going strong. A food processor is nice to have. Good bread pans, nice pots. Like don't buy pots and cooking pots that you're gonna have to replace in 2 years, you know. Just don't buy cheap pots. Don't buy Teflon. Please do not cook on Teflon. It's horrible. Good knives. So all these things, like, they're not necessities, but if we're talking about making cooking from scratch easier, these things are where it's at. If it's things that you would use, invest in them. The most recent thing I invested in is a wheat mill. I got a mock mill for grinding my grain, my wheat, because I'm using almost all fresh ground wheat now. So, you know, they make it easier, they make it more enjoyable, faster, more hands-off, whatever the case may be. It's worth investing in some really high quality kitchen tools. Okay, so number 6, try to plan easy breakfast meals like yogurt. I love yogurt. It's super easy. Make you a batch of granola, get some frozen blueberries in the morning, throw in your yogurt, blueberries, granola on top. Voila, you have a yogurt parfait that took you all of 3 minutes to prepare. If you're not yogurt eaters, or if you have dairy problems like we do lately in your house, batch process things like muffins. Make enough muffins for a week that can be warmed up every morning. Make a breakfast casserole at the beginning of the week that you can eat all week long. Breakfast burritos, you can stick those in the freezer and take out however many you need for the day. You can make bacon or sausage, make enough to last for a week and just pull it out and warm it up in the mornings. So I'm a huge fan of breakfast like that because just the process of getting everything out, cooking it, and then having all those dirty dishes adds like an hour to your morning at least. More if you have a baby like me and you have to stop and nurse the baby and all that stuff. So I'm a huge fan of doing either really easy breakfasts that you can just throw together in the morning, or batch processing, making extras so that you can just warm it and eat it in the morning. That ties into number 7, which is cook enough food for suppers that you have leftovers for lunch. And this same thing, it saves so much time to just warm food versus cooking food. And you know, my mom and I had this conversation just a couple of days ago. Some people are like hugely against eating leftovers. I totally don't understand that because I cook food that I like to eat. And so if it's leftover, that's even better because I didn't have to cook it and I still like to eat it. So, you know, cook enough to have leftovers for lunch, it makes a huge, huge difference. And also, if your husband works and he buys his food for lunch every day, you are spending so much more money. You could be saving that by sending him a really healthy, good lunch to eat. So, number 8, cook double and freeze half for later. Or you can have 2 suppers. If y'all don't mind eating the same thing, you know, every day during the week, then that's great. If your family likes to have some variety, then you can cook it and freeze half. Like I'll do this with spaghetti. I'll do this with round steak and gravy, or roast and gravy, or what I just put in the freezer the other day, chicken pot pie filling, you know. So I do a lot of things like that where I'll cook it double, freeze half, and then later on down the road, you have a much easier meal to prepare. The other thing that I'll do is cook an extra meat. So like 2 nights ago, I was making meat for something, and instead of taking out 1 pack of meat and cooking it, I took out 2 packs of meat and cooked it. So now I have 1 pack of meat already cooked in the freezer, which is gonna be a super quick, easy meal for either one day that I have planned, Or one day that I come home and I'm like, I don't have anything to cook and scrambling to find something, I can take out that pack of meat, make something really quick. I can make tacos super quick. I can make spaghetti with meat sauce super quick. Anything with ground meat in it, you can then make super quick. So number 9, and I've kind of touched on this in a couple of different things, is batch days. So this is one that I am fixing to start. I actually am working on gathering up my stuff right now. I am gonna start doing batch days to bake all of my bread for the month in one day. So I'm gonna bake loaf bread. I'm gonna bake bread for, like, we like cinnamon raisin bread or chocolate swirl bread for breakfasts. They're so yummy. So I'll do those. And then French bread for our suppers and muffins for our breakfast, because we like muffins. So I am gonna take an entire day and do nothing but bake bread. So, you know, then I don't have to bake bread every couple of days or however often. I will have that bread in the freezer and just pull it out, super easy peasy, and it only took me one day to do it per month. Number 10, and this one lately, this is something that I've really been implementing lately because I always somehow make things so complicated. So it's keep it simple. Your healthy homemade meals from scratch don't have to be complicated, and they shouldn't be complicated unless that's what you like. You know, you need a meat, a meat protein, veggies. You can have 1 or 2 different kind of vegetables and some bread, and that's a really good, delicious, healthy home-cooked meal. It doesn't have to be elaborate. You know, if you still like to cook complicated things, you can save those for the weekend when you have more time. Or you could, you know, do one complicated thing a week if you really enjoy those complicated things, but you still need the majority of the time to be easier. So it does not have to be complicated. You can really just do simple meals of meat and vegetables and bread, and you have a complete meal. Number 11, crock pot meals. And I did mention this one earlier. Crock pot meals really do make mealtime easier, because even though you do the same amount of work, you do it at a better time of the day. And then your evenings are more free. Like for us, evenings are really difficult. It's the time where, like, everybody comes in the house and are filthy dirty, so everybody has to have baths, which they can't do by themselves. And then the food has to be prepped and the table set and all the things done all at the same time. So having your food prepped ahead of time really does make it way, way easier. Number 12, freezer meals. Touched on that one a little earlier too. And I have done this like before I was gonna have a baby. You can take some days and make up a whole ton of freezer meals and have them in the freezer. And then it's kind of like crock pot meals. Like, it's easy to take out a meal and have minimal prep to have a home cooked meal ready for you. So number 13 is prep supper earlier in the day. So if supper is your big meal that you cook, you can easily prep it earlier in the day when it's a more convenient time, like, you know, right after you eat breakfast or during the kids' nap time. And then all you have to do it later is warm it up. And I do this quite frequently because in the evenings I'm wanting to go in the garden because it's cooler and things like that. So it makes it a lot easier if when we come in, supper's cooked and all I have to do is just warm it back up. Number 14, repurpose your leftovers. Our family typically, like I said, I make things that we like to eat. So typically nobody cares that we eat the same thing repeatedly until it's gone. But if your family, you know, they get bored eating the same thing or whatever, you can repurpose your leftovers and make a completely different meal with it. Some things that I can think of off the top of my head, or like roast. If you make a roast one day and you eat it as just meat with veggies, the next day you could use it for sandwiches. If you make spaghetti and you have leftover spaghetti sauce, you can use it the next day and make lasagna. Or I'm trying to think of something else. You know, you get the idea. You can repurpose your leftovers and make something completely different that's still delicious. Okay, number 15. I really like, I learned this at a job I had. I worked at a little sandwich shop, and I learned to store things in the refrigerator in jars. So almost all of my leftovers I keep in jars, quart-sized jars, pint-sized jars, half-gallon jars, whatever size I need. It makes them really easy to see what you have left over, and it makes them easy to clean too. You can just throw them in the dishwasher. The lids all fit the same jars if you get all wide mouth, you know. So it's really easy. It's way better than Tupperware that you lose lids for, and then your Tupperware is no good because you can't just get the lids. You know, it's glass. So I really love storing my leftovers in jars. And number 16, which kind of counterintuitive, is to get your whole family involved. And I know that it might be more complicated in the beginning. It might make things harder in the beginning, but it's gonna be so worth it when your kids get a little older and they have these skills and they enjoy being in the kitchen with you because you have let them do that, you know, and you express how thankful you are for their help and you express how good they're doing. So even though it might be more difficult to begin with, it will be so, like, you will reap the benefits exponentially down the road if you get your whole family involved and let them learn how to do things in the kitchen. And then 17 is pretty much like right along those same lines, and that's involve everyone in the cleanup, which it doesn't a lot of times happen in our family because, like I said, our evenings are so chaotic. Everybody is bathing and eating, and then it's supper time and all that stuff. So a lot of times this doesn't happen, but it's something I would like to do more because one person trying to clean everything up is gonna take a long time. 4 people cleaning everything up, even if those 4 people aren't super helpful yet, is gonna go quicker, you know? And then as you train them, as they get better, it will be better and better and better. So try to start now developing those good habits, even if it's not the easiest now, because down the road it will make it so much easier and so much better. And also teaching really valuable skills to your kids. They should know how to clean up from themselves after they're finished eating, you know? It's just basic life skills. So even though it might not be like easy right now, it will help you in the future. So I really hope that you can glean some nuggets from these ideas. Like I said, it might not all apply to you, but hopefully there will be 1 or 2 things that you can take away from it and help make it easier to cook healthy meals for your family. And if you have any other things that I didn't touch on that are really helpful that you think would help other people, please leave a comment in the comments below and let us know. I love getting new ideas for how to make things that I do on a regular basis easier. So thank you for joining, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.